When you think of late 60s Hong Kong films, you think of the chivalric wuxia adventures that would soon be toppled by the brawny kung fu stories, or the tail end of the costume picture light operas that got Hong Kong cinema started in the first place. But the swinging 60s rocked Hong Kong just as they had Britain, highly publicized, though not actually affecting the average citizen. The apex of the Shaw Brothers swinging 60 films is Hong Kong Nocturne, a frothy, star-studded musical that typifies a Hong Kong cinema which passed the West by. Lily Ho, Chang Pei Pei, and Chen Ping are all pitch perfect as three showbiz sisters. Chang Pei Pei gets to do what she's always wanted to, sing and dance in a big motion picture, as opposed to dispatching bad guys with their kung fu. All three actresses had their own string of successful action films going on as well. Peter Chen Ho, Ling Yun, and Chen Kang Ye are all outstanding as the good guy love interests who, for various reasons, strike out with our heroines. And I've already documented my weakness for Tina Chen Fei, even if here she just plays a minor femme fatale. In the mid-60s, the Shaw Brothers had knocked their competitors, MP and GI, mostly out of the running for the Hong Kong market. To fill that void and their pockets, Run Run Shaw decided to produce as many films as humanly possible, preferably a new release every single week. Costly prestige films would still get made, but the Shaws needed talent who knew how to pump out what the public wanted and to do so efficiently. So they looked to the film powerhouses of Japan. Enter Inoue Umetsugu, one Japanese director who brought with him to Hong Kong an already prolific career and a no-nonsense attitude. He refused to take a Chinese name, marking himself clearly as a temporary gun for hire in Hong Kong to make a buck and not coming to integrate. But this proud streak also applied to his intense work ethic. Over 4 years of the Shaws, he pumped out 17 movies, which was even more impressive because he was actually only directing them for 3 months a year. That adds up to about a film and a half every single month, in many of which he had a heavy investment in writing, and many of which required foreign shoots, sometimes conveniently back home in Japan. Inoue was not a visionary artiste like King Hu, nor a John Ford-style director who would do just what he liked like Chang Che. Inoue was slick and fun and pushed the Shaw Brothers into a more modern territory which was glossy and campy, as if the Elvis musicals had been injected with outsized pathos. Other Shaw Brothers films around this time attempted modern plotlines, such as T-Lung's street crime drama The Young Rebel, or the sweatshop film Big Bad Sis. These ranged from after-school special-style moralizing to barefaced exploitation. Inoue was not interested in either of those. Instead, he romanticized the aspirations of Hong Kong's youth, combining working-class soap operas with glamorous plots that were sometimes overly convenient, but let audiences fantasize about good-looking youths with relatable problems which usually took place in cool settings. Probably his two best beloved pictures were King Drummer, a drama about two musician brothers caught between their music careers and the criminal underworld, and Hong Kong Nocturne. Both are melodramas with a lot of music tossed in. Hong Kong Nocturne bursts with a celebration of Hong Kong's potential. The three leading women compete in go-go dance contests. They throw rooftop parties. They fall in love. They make it big in showbiz. Like King Drummer, Hong Kong Nocturne centers on family bonds being tested by a corrupt entertainment industry. Three daughters work for their father, a nightclub magician, whose act is really only popular because of his girls. When he hands their paychecks over to his gold-digging girlfriend, the daughters have had enough and they abandon him. Well, two of them do. The third one tries to remain loyal, but the magician eventually discasts her as well. Meanwhile, the older sister, played by Lily Ho, is lured to Japan by her fiancé. When she arrives, she finds out her promised movie contract is actually to shoot low-budget erotica. Heartbroken, she flees into the arms of a jazz musician in Taipei, but their love is doomed as well. The youngest daughter, working as cleaning staff for a ballet school, uncovers a talent for dance thanks to the cruel prodding of her head teacher, whom she falls for. This quick plot summary reveals the movie's biggest weakness: daddy issues galore. All men are unreliable saviors, and all relationships are doomed. The three women act on impulse, and their intuitions are very rarely correct. Traditional values are also part of their trouble. Excessive filial piety, shunning sex for both money and love, obeisance to your shifu. It's a fairly tame rejection of cultural norms, since the father, the fiancé, and the ballet instructor all actually fail in their expected roles in monstrous ways, and the nuclear family is also the vehicle for the women's salvation. Blood loyalty, not your dreams, can lead to happiness and even commercial success. Following their adventures outside the home, the three women come together for a big-budget TV special celebrating their past as a nightclub act, while cutting their father out as their manager. Notice that the theater, magic shows, and jazz clubs are left behind as TV takes over. Back in 2003, the academics D.W. Davis and Inoue Yu pointed out that on one hand, Inoue was reaching out to the Hong Kong youth to deliver a glamorized version of their lives. On the other hand, the middle-aged guys who funded studio pictures and the middle-aged guys paying for movie tickets, whether for their kids or for themselves, were enticed by the glamour, which idolized and sometimes objectified Inoue's 20-something stars. Inoue preaches the freedom of the next generation, but he never pushes his luck. The take-home message claimed to be aspirational. See what these kids can do today? But was really more fantastical. Check out those kids today. More, I wish I had done that, than I hope I can do that. Much of Inoue's 1960s Hong Kong plots copy material from his 1950s movies back in Japan. The 10-year gap between his Japanese and Hong Kong material may not have convinced current Hong Kong youth. Fortunately, Inoue knew how to update his plots just enough. King Drummer was an edgier remake of The Man Who Caused a Storm 10 years prior in Japan, and Hong Kong Nocturne mixed elements from two previous movies from Japan for a satisfying result. If anything, Inoue was a master of commercial style. You can't help but love the bright colors, the improbable dream sequences, the go-go dancing, the Las Vegas-style costumes, and the goofy gullibility of his three leads. Looking back on those troubled youth movies at the beginning of this video, following the Hong Kong riots of 1967, Inoue, thanks to his foreigner status in the cinema world, was mostly immune to the politicization of Hong Kong movies in those days. His movies exist in a hermetically sealed fantasy world. Hong Kong Nocturne's themes of family, show business, and patriarchy are actually universal, and they never get bogged down in specific real-world power struggles. It's low art for low art's sake, and it is tremendous fun to watch.